otherworldly revenge. Why is a woman burying the men she loves? Don't miss out. The psychics are going to unveil a treacherous conspiracy and a terrible murder. This is Psychic Investigations, a channel of true and impressive stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants solve resonant criminal cases and unravel incredible mystical phenomena. Tetiána Prosíy from Ukraine is asking the clairvoyants for help. Being 48, the woman has already buried 4 husbands, for which she has been nicknamed a Black Widow.
I wore black headscarf constantly, never taking it off.
All Mom's husbands die young and under unbelievable circumstances.
A short circuit, carbon monoxide poisoning, a heart attack, and pneumonia. All of Tetiána's husbands died abruptly shortly after they started living with her. Now, her daughter Oksana is afraid of her also, claiming that after Tetiána moved in to live with her, her husband and little son found themselves in danger. First, Oksana's husband had a serious car accident.
It was an awful car crash. His car fell from the bridge. He had all his bones broken, and he spent a long time in the hospital.
After that, the man almost died at a train station. Oksana got distracted for a brief moment, and when she looked back, she saw him fall unconscious in front of the incoming train.
I turned my head and saw him lying on the track.
But when Oksana's little son, Kirilo, began fainting suddenly in front of his mother, it was the last straw.
He turned bluish and stopped breathing for about a minute.
The parents immediately contacted the best doctors. However, nobody can explain the reason for the strange fits in the little boy. When they learned that the famous gypsy clairvoyant Rubina Cybulska was going to visit their town, Tetiána and her daughter decided to ask her for help.
Rubina, hello.
Hello.
I really need your help. My husband and son are in grave danger.
Tell me, please, what's the boy's name?
Kirilo.
Your son suffers from bad dreams.
He often has nightmares. He wakes up terrified, and I have to calm him down.
He sees some kind of evil entity. But the worst thing is that it also haunts him when he's awake.
He saw some shadows, and he pressed himself to me, trembling. He was terrified.
When I tuned into you, Tetiána, I heard the words, Black Widow.
Yes. I've been to churches and tried different things. I don't even know who to ask for help from anymore.
I had a vision of a bloodied man. He was kneeling and there was a little girl next to him. And I felt the energy of a murder. But at the time, I decided not to hurry to make conclusions and figure it all out properly. To know what caused it all, I need to tune into all your husband's deaths. Do you have their photos?
Yes, I do.
This man, he's alive.
Yes, he's Oksana's father.
As it turned out, Oksana had 5 husbands. Only the first one is still alive. He's the father of Oksana.
He was saved by the unfaithfulness after which you decided to divorce him.
Yes, we divorced.
This man, he died first.
Yes, Ihor.
He loved you madly.
We were very happy, and with this man, I finally saw what it means to be a woman.
He died in your arms.
Yes.
When I tune into his death, I see a flash.
He was short-circuited while he was repairing a socket.
I hear him say, "You are mine and nobody else's."
He always told me, if I die, don't marry anybody else. If you don't visit my grave, I'll haunt you at night in your dreams. I've seen him. I felt him close to me, but when I woke up, I realized he wasn't there. I cried through the night.
So I thought it was Ihor's spirit that was taking away the men she chose after him. But then, Why would he want to take your husband and son? I need to summon his spirit. Do you have any of his belongings?
No,
Can you at least show me the place where he died?
that house is no more. Only the plot is left. That's all that's left of the site where he died.
The following day, Rubina's colleague, Yaroslava Fedorova, arrived in the town to help her with the investigation.
The cards told me the angel's words saved the demon. I wished I know who was who in this story.
After I worked with the photo yesterday, I had a dream. There was a woman in it. She was standing, half turned to me. I asked her, "Who are you?" She turned to me, and I saw she was dead. Her lips were distorted with some kind of terrible smile, covered with stitches. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Could you please hold the cards? I had the cards of the murder, the bloodline, and deviant love. But back then, I couldn't even think what mystery Tetiána and her daughter were concealing from us. I need to tune in to Ihor better. Can we proceed into the yard?
Tetiána's husband, Ihor, died in this house. Ever since then, nobody has lived in it.
There's nothing left of the house.
Before you moved into the house, you had a long path.
Yes, it's true. I come from Moldova. I've lived in Ukraine since 1997. I came to Ukraine after my mom died. Igor was my next-door neighbor. This is how we met.
The woman comes from a big family, and she has 4 sisters. 3 of them moved from Moldova to Ukraine before she did, and then they convinced Tetiána to come too.
In this house, you embrace and kiss another man. It's not Ihor, but he looks a lot like him. He's his relative.
His brother.
Did you cheat on your husband with his brother?
After he died, his brother Andrei began paying me visits. He courted me, and he told me he would never let me go.
Do you mean you started dating his brother?
After he died, yes.
But immediately, after you became a couple, the man died.
Yes. He got pneumonia and died.
Does it mean Ihor is taking men because of your oath? I need to summon his spirit.
He's here. He loves you a lot. And he will never hurt you or your child. He's embracing you, saying, "Why didn't you hear me? I told you, but you didn't believe me." Ihor fell victim to this evil spirit, and before he died, he saw the evil spirit that came for him.
He said, "There she is sitting, dressed in white, but you can't see her."
It means Ihor and his brother, as well as all your further husbands, were taken away by a woman in white. But who is she?
He says, "You'll find the answer today on a poisoned man's grave." Who died from poisoning?
Alexander. He lit the fire in the stove and lied on top of it to sleep, but he breathed in the fumes and died by the morning.
Where is his grave?
He's buried in Bryansk.
But it's in Russia. While Ihor's spirit claims we're going to find the answer today. Did he probably mean someone else's grave? But where are we going to find it?
The grave. Is it nearby?
Yes, it's not far. Let's go there.
Several minutes later, the clairvoyants are at the local cemetery. They go to Ihor's grave.
I see a man in my mirror. He's dead. lying in a room full of smoke, and there's a woman next to him. But she's still alive. You know her. She's your relative.
Maria, my sister.
She and her husband breathed smoke during a fire in their apartment. She survived, but the doctors barely revived her.
It's unimaginable. As it turned, Tetiána's sister Maria and her husband Anatoly turned on an electric fireplace. But in the middle of the night, a short circuit happened. The apartment was engulfed by smoke.
Anatoly died between 1 and 2 in the morning, and my sister breathed the smoke for 8 more hours.
Is Anatoly also buried here, next to Ihor?
Yes.
The Force is hunting men only.
And it's doing it out of revenge. It didn't kill your sister. And it made sure she would regain consciousness and know of her husband's funeral.
It's unbelievable. Tetiána's another sister, who was with Maria at the hospital, claims she came to on the very day of her husband's funeral.
She spent 3 days in a coma, and she came to when Anatoly was buried.
The cards told me that the husband of Tetiána's sister was another victim of the mysterious murderous spirit. The reason behind that was a family conspiracy. The sisters shared the secret of a mutilated body.
I think to understand everything, we need to work with your sister.
The clairvoyants and Maria agreed to meet at the place where she almost died.
I'm Irina. We're sisters.
I'm going to summon the spirit of the woman who took the lives of your Tetiána and Maria's husbands. The world of the dead, open up to us. A dead man emerged behind Irina.
I feel cold with my back.
Irina lost her husband too. All 3 sisters were widows.
We're all widows. We all have sons and grandsons, and we worry about them a lot.
You have 2 more sisters who are also widows.
Yes.
It turned out that these women's 2 sisters, Olena and Yevhenia, also lost their husbands while they were young. One died of leukosis in his wife's arms, and the other was beaten up to death in front of his home.
What did the 5 sisters do that the spirit from the other world wants to avenge on them so badly? And whose ghost is that? Yaroslava, I need your help. I want to feel who that woman is through you.
Rubina.
Rubina felt unwell.
Take the water.
I saw the woman and felt her pain. She had her face mutilated. Like this. She told me she was your mother.
A shocking revelation. Is the mother taking away her daughter's husbands?
Not only her face is covered in scars, but she looks like all her body was torn. It looks like her intestines were ripped and turned inside out. God, you all know who did this to her.
We do. Dad killed Mom.
And the murder was awfully brutal. It was terribly inhumane. He breaks her bones. Her body's all ripped.
Everything was inside out. Everything was ripped out of her body. Literally.
Mom was bleeding. He broke her arms and nose bridge. Her 9 ribs were broken.
My God, Oksana, you witnessed this.
Yes.
By that time, all the 5 sisters were married and lived separately. They only brought their children to their parents occasionally. 2 grandchildren, the 8-year-old Oksana and the 4-year-old Dimitro, witnessed the brutal murder their grandpa committed.
Mom was doing laundry. Dad began nagging her for something, so she told the kids to go outside. They obeyed, and then Oksana heard screaming inside the house, and she realized something awful was going on in there. She took Dimitru by his hand, and they ran together, calling for help, but there was nobody around.
After he did it, he took me by the hand and took us inside. And I saw a tear running down her cheek. And he told us, "Look what your grandma's doing." And I looked into her eyes and saw them go dim. And then I realized Grandma had died.
When I heard that Mom died, I hurried there. The children were standing by the stove, frozen and scared. The wife of my father's brother was with them.
He tormented her all her life, and you all knew it.
We did. Dad always told her, "Lydia, I'm going to kill you one day."
According to Tetiána, her mother was from Russia. She left her home and her family, and contrary to what they told her, moved to Moldova because she fell in love madly with the young man.
When Mom was pregnant, Dad beat her up so badly that she lost her baby, and it was born dead.
The poor woman wanted to escape from her tormentor. She hoped that one of her daughters would take her away from the hell she lived in. The woman was knocking on the door, but nobody would let her in.
You closed the door on your mother.
The woman wanted to live with one of her daughters, but none of them agreed. Eventually, she returned to her tormentor, who hurt her all her life. 2 weeks later, her husband brutally murdered her.
Your father wasn't punished properly for what he did. How long did he spend in prison?
3 years.
But his sentence was 5 years.
He was released on parole.
Your mother is telling me the short sentence was because of you. She's showing me a letter. You wrote that document?
Irina gave me $50, and my other sisters asked me to talk to the forensic expert to convince him to lay a charge for the murder only, so our father would get a shorter sentence.
It's hard to believe. The daughters bribed the forensic expert to make him conceal the facts, indicating that their father had been abusing their mother.
He was supposed to be sentenced under 3 articles of the criminal code as a sadist, maniac, and murderer, but he was only accused of the murder. Dad's sister and brother forced me to do it. They threatened me.
Why did you save him? He killed your mother.
We must be able to forgive. We can't choose our parents.
My hair stood on end, as the faked document wasn't the only thing the women did for their sadistic father. They made the only witness who could give evidence, the little Oksana, lie in the courtroom. She is the angel because of whose words the demon is free.
We did a wrong thing and gave false evidence. Mom told me what to say. I learned the text by heart and told the story so convincingly that even psychologists didn't think I lied.
How could you betray your mother?
This is incredible, but the sadist who killed the mother of his children so brutally is still alive. The man is now paralyzed and can't move or even eat without assistance, but thanks to his daughters, he's free.
To me, you totally deserve what's happening to you. I'm not going to do anything.
Yaroslava, please.
I won't do anything.
I'll kneel in front of you. Help my children and grandchildren.
Of course I didn't wish to return there, but I realized that those women's children and grandchildren, and Oksana, who was just a little girl back then, didn't have to suffer.
The point is that there is no ritual that could pacify a spirit after such a terrible thing was done to them. You're supposed to beg for forgiveness for years. We can only summon your mother's spirit, and then it's up to you what to tell her.
Mom, darling, forgive us for offending and betraying you. Forgive us, Mommy.
We failed to protect you, Mom. Please forgive us.
Forgive the stupid girls you gave birth to.
Grandma, I'm so sorry. The guilt has been gnawing at me throughout my life.
They sincerely repented. But you can't return the past and right the wrongs with rituals. You have 2 more sisters.
They must repent too for what they did. I don't know if the woman forgave her daughters for the betrayal. I can only say for sure that motherly love persists even after death. And I believe the woman really heard the apologies of her children, who once saved her murderer.
If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more impressive investigations are still ahead.